Part 42. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 411. Yun Fi Ian is one generation older than Hun Zhanbawang, so Hun Zhanbawang, who is already in his 40s, calls Yun Fi Ian's sister-in-law. In the Dragon City Guild building, Yun Fi Ian took a look at the battlefield situation and said in a deep voice, "Don't rebel yet. The 20-nation alliance has now reacted and is chasing our army. It's too late to defend the city. You guys will wait until they arrive." At the foot of the royal city, in the name of competing for contribution points, he killed the 20-nation alliance army. Remember, there are tens of millions of NPC civilians from the 5 races in the royal city. These alliance armies must not be allowed to enter the city and distract Suchen. Okay, Sol Warbawang laughed ferociously, looked back at the 20-nation alliance army chasing after him, and urged the members of the guild to run faster. On the way, he did not forget to shout, "Sister-in-law, this battle is over, I invite my sister-in-law and my sister-in-law to run away. Let's have a meal together, uncle." Yun Fi Ian was stunned for a moment. When he realized who this little uncle was, his pretty face turned red. He ignored the poor talking Hun Zhanbawang. Yun Fi Ian's beautiful eyes were unblinking. He looked at Suchen, who was leading 10,000 divine and demonic dragon riders, standing proudly in the void. For a moment, his feelings were filled with emotions and his beautiful eyes were filled with waves. In the void, millions of gods and demons from the 6 realms were facing each other from afar against Suchen, who had led 10,000 gods and demons as dragon riders. In terms of momentum, he was actually outnumbered by Suchen, who was 100 times smaller in number. No way. Suchen still had the power of killing 30,000 gods and demons by himself before. A mere million demigods, true gods, and general-level gods and demons were not in Suchen's eyes. Both parties were suspended quietly in the void, allowing more than 100 million players below to run like ants without even taking a look. They all know it. A stronger existence is coming. Countless low-level soldiers from each of the 6 realm camps came to the edge of the blood domain space and threw the large amount of elemental crystals they brought on top as if they were free of charge. Even though the entire blood domain space has been completely stabilized, this behavior has not stopped. Waited for half an hour. When the entire bloody barrier began to surge with traces of bloody energy due to sufficient elemental energy replenishment. Finally, above the sky, a series of light pillars of various colors such as holy white, mysterious black, golden, and deep green, suddenly fell down. Each of these light pillars is thousands of meters thick in diameter. The aura emitted far exceeds the movement of the elders of various religions summoning generals and gods and demons. A total of 46 beams of light of various colors were personally summoned by the 46 great elders, and cast down projections of the Lord God of the 6 realms up to a kilometer high. For a moment, the power of the Lord God was so powerful that it was impossible to look directly at it. Millions of gods and demons in the void all bowed their heads. On the hundreds of miles of land, the pet mounts under hundreds of millions of players whined in unison, cowering and not daring to move. There was no other way. Hun Zhanbawang and the others could only run towards the royal city on foot. There are only 10 miles left, and it won't take much time even if I run. Seeing the players from Country Z working so hard, the 20-nation alliance players were all stimulated and followed suit one after another. Damn, these Z country guys are so crazy trying to contribute. Run quickly. The main god's projection has come out, and a fart can kill a large part of us. If we don't run away, we will all die. At this time, I really admire that Junlin. Do you think there is such a big gap between people? He faced millions of gods and demons all by himself, and even the Lord God descended upon him, but he didn't even frown. Isn't this man not afraid at all? Hey, since it's already this time, I'll tell you the truth. Do you still remember the inexplicable big movement in Storm King City last time? People outside say that a big boss has been born, hee. Let me tell you the truth, in that battle, Junlin killed 3 main god projections. Hiss. Real or fake? Can the projection of the Lord God be headed? Haha, you will know right away if it is true or false. Let me choke, no wonder he is so calm in confronting the gods and demons of the 6 realms. It turns out that he is a brave man with a high skill level. In the void. As soon as the projections of the 46 Lord Gods of the 6 realms arrived, they cast their gazes containing immeasurable pressure on Suchen opposite. Junlin, you have made a big mistake by fighting against the 6 realms. It's not too late to commit suicide and hand over the time and space fortress now. Otherwise, when we kill you, even if you have the identity of a foreign player, you will never be resurrected. A major god-level demon from the demon world, with overwhelming demonic energy surging around his body, shouted coldly at Suchen. His voice was as loud as a bell, making countless ripples rise in the void. Suchen looked sideways at the other person and sneered, "It's just you. How dare these food delivery projections make such big claims? Only those who have the guts to descend into a clone are qualified to talk to me. Be bold. Presumptuous. A child with a yellow mouth and a big talk without any shame." For a moment, the 46 projections of the Lord Gods of the 6 realms were furious. But none of them dared to step forward. The battle in Storm King City revealed that Suchen had Lu Yuanzong, the number 1 god in heaven, to take refuge. The name of a person, the shadow of a tree, even if Lu Yuanzong was demoted and his divine power was greatly damaged, the projections of the main gods could not resist them. At this moment, 6 light pillars that were as solid as the passage between heaven and earth suddenly pierced the dome of the blood domain space, with extremely domineering the posture descends into the void. "Oh? Then, am I qualified to talk to you?" A voice with a hint of murderous intent came out of the light pillar. Although this voice was not loud, it directly shocked the pet mounts of hundreds of millions of players on the earth, causing them to all explode to death. Even the tens of millions of NPCs in the 6 realms camp, the mount was also bleeding from the mouth and nose, and was kneeling on the ground. The 10,000 gods demonic dragon rider on Suchen's side remained motionless, his cold and resolute face as usual. The leading 8 desolate dragon knights had their eyes filled with fighting spirit. But sitting there, the pet golden dragon trembled for the first time. In the time and space fortress, Lu Yuanzong, the first god general in the heaven who had been waiting for a long time, was suddenly startled. He couldn't help but raise his head and look here. The main god's clone. Lu Yuanzong, who didn't even bother to look at the 46 projections of the Lord God before, now had a slightly solemn look on his face. If the projection of the Lord God was just as weak as a child in his hands, then the clone of the Lord God he has an adult man with the same strength. With his current strength, Lu Yuanzong can still do it 1 against 1, or even 1 against 2. But if he faces 6 main god clones at the same time, it will be difficult. In the void, Suchen narrowed his eyes slightly and looked attentively. He saw 6 huge figures shrouded in dazzling light or dark demonic aura walking out of 6 light pillars with a diameter of several thousand meters. Each of these figures was 9,000 meters tall. It was like the sky-holding giant. As he raised his hands and feet, the surrounding void was shattered. Waves of terrifying coercion surged out of his body, as if there were only these 6 figures left in the entire world. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 412. Master, this is the avatar of the great god of light, the great demon of Solomon, the great lord of Xiantian, the great god of Jade Dragon, the great god of darkness and the bodhisattva of ultimate bliss of the 6 realms. In Suchen's mind, Lu Yuanzong's urgent voice came. With my current strength, I can barely hold down 2 of the 6 people. Later, Yuanzong will try his best to attract their attention. Master, you will immediately take the Dragon Knight and take the opportunity to retreat to the time and space fortress and teleport outside the blood domain space. We can enter and exit the blood domain space at will, but these Master God clones will immediately disintegrate when they leave the blood domain space. When we get outside, we'll wait for an opportunity to kill these 6 realm minions. What Lu Yuanzong said is true. As long as they leave the blood realm space, under the rules of the God realm continent, the millions of gods and demons in the 6 realm camps, including 46 main god projections and 6 main god clones, will automatically disintegrate. No need for them to take action. But how did Lu Yuanzong know that in Suchen's eyes, the millions of gods and demons in front of him were massive experience points, blood of gods and demons, divine power and energy of the formation, which would be the basic resources for him to build an army of gods and demons dragon riders in the future? It was not easy to do this. How can you let so many gods and demons go out so easily? You know, after total war, it will be the land of the abyss facing the 6 realms. Why not take advantage of such a good opportunity now to kill and loot after a wave, before he goes to the Tianyuan land in the future? What will he use to build more numerous and more powerful gods and demon dragon riders? At that moment, Suchen said to Lu Yuanzong in his heart, don't worry. You deal with the projection of the main god. As for the clones of the 6 main gods, leave it to me. Lu Yuanzong was shocked when he heard this. The strong confidence in Suchen's tone made the former number 1 general in heaven feel a little dazed. My master is so powerful now. Can one person fight 6 main god clones? But then, he still warned with a solemn expression, Master, these 6 major gods each have their own unique skills. You must be careful of the great god of light's bright shield, the great god of jade dragon's jade dragon roaring sky, and the great demon of Suoluo. Devil soul, blissful sound of the bodhisattva of bliss. Suchen frowned and interrupted Lu Yuanzong, asking how long does it take for these guys to use these skills? It should be anywhere from 3 seconds to 10 seconds. These 6 main gods are all elementary and medium main gods, and they cannot achieve the main instant god level skills like the high main gods. Suchen nodded. Then I'll try to resolve the battle within 3 seconds. Lu Yuanzong, who was sitting in Dragon City, was so shocked that he could hardly hold the heaven-splitting divine halberd in his hand. His eyes were rounded, and his expression was full of shock. Within 3 seconds, resolve the battle. Even if Lu Yuanzong regains his full strength, he can only reach this level. Can the master do it now? But Suchen is not bragging. After activating the level 66 god descends to earth, his attack can increase all the way to more than 4 billion. The blood volume of these main god clones is only about 20 billion. With the blessing of the highest 100 times attack speed of Battle of the 8 Wastes, it may not even take 3 seconds to solve them all. Therefore, the 6 realms in front of us are, although the battle between gods and demons was huge, it was not in Suchen's eyes. In fact, more of his attention was focused on the void annihilation that had been hidden in the 6 realms camp. It could trigger a sense of crisis in him. It must be something that can kill him. The imperial power attribute of the artifact crown of unparalleled, but I have been waiting for this void annihilation. In the void, Suchen didn't answer for a long time. The 6 main god clones sneered. Junlin kid, do you regret it now? You are lucky enough to be able to induce the 52 main gods of my 6 realms to come to this world. The 9,000-meter tall bodhisattva of ultimate bliss is rippling with golden light all over her body. She raises a palm with one hand and declares the Buddha's name, almsgiver. The sea of suffering has no end, but when you turn around, you will reach the shore. Only by putting down the butcher's knife can you reach bliss as soon as possible. How about you come with me to the paradise of bliss, study the Dharma under the seat of my Buddha Tathagata for 3,000 years, and wash away all your karma? Su Chen pointed at the Bodhisattva of ultimate bliss and laughed. You are a karmic obstacle and you teach others to wash away all their karma, The six realms are slaughtering and abusing all races in the divine continent. Why don't you go and wash them away? How dare you, the crooked ones, to make such nonsense with me? Are there more clones coming? Only 6, not enough. How can 6 be enough? It would be better to have 30. The skill fighting the 8 wastes lasts for 20 seconds, so no second is wasted. Looking at Suchen's extremely arrogant look, the 6 masters smiled brightly. Ignorant child, do you know the difference between clone and projection? Idiot. If Lu Yuanzhong goes to fight in person, I will give him 2 cents of noodles. You alone, dare to speak nonsense in front of me. King's Landing, you already have 10,000 gods, demons, dragon cavalry, and a time and space fortress. Why don't you let them out and compete with my millions of subordinates to see who is better? Of course, if you feel it's unfair and want to back down, that's okay, just treat the high cow you boasted about before as if it was nothing more than a fart. The clones of the 6 major gods sneered at Suchen. The murderous intent in their eyes was not concealed at all. Suchen shook his head and laughed. These guys actually used the provoking method on a person who has been reborn for the 9th time. Haha, they want to take the opportunity to destroy my god. Demonic Dragon Rider Legion? Lead out my time and space fortress? But why don't I want to take the opportunity to lead out your top magic void annihilation in advance? Suchen and the Lord God of the 6 realms had the same idea. At that moment, Suchen had a thought in his mind. The huge space-time fortress buzzed and teleported behind Suchen. At the same time, the surrounding illusion cover was dispersed, and it appeared in front of everyone with its true appearance for the first time. For a time, countless people's eyes were attracted by this huge floating fortress. Attracted? The Lord Gods of the 6 realms looked at Suchen's time and space fortress, their eyes widened even more, the greed in their eyes was undisguised, and they wished they could take it for themselves immediately. It really is a time and space fortress from ancient times. This guy is really lucky that he found such a rare thing. To my surprise, I can't even explore the inside of the fortress in front of me. Could it be that the time and space shield of this time and space fortress has reached a level that can shield the main gods like me? No wonder he is so arrogant. With the backing of this time and space fortress, he can hide in and escape no matter how dangerous it is, so naturally he will be bolder. In the small town conference hall, dozens of great elders from various religions looked at the huge and magnificent time and space fortress in the picture. They were extremely shocked. Douglas came to his senses first and communicated with the Pope in Guangming City. While using the sound transmission technique, he said in a deep voice to the elders of various religions, the fish has been successfully lured out. Everyone, it's time to close the net. I am preparing to teach great prophecy. Under the personal guidance of the great God of light, once we lock the aura of King's Landing, we will immediately activate void annihilation. King's Landing and his time and space fortress must be destroyed in one fell swoop. Everyone is overjoyed? Good. Just waiting for this moment. Li Changfeng, the great elder of Xiantian Dao sect, gritted his teeth and said, "We have been waiting for King Ku to come to you for a long time. Today I will definitely pay back all the humiliation I suffered before." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 413. Suchen looked at the Lord God of the 6 realms, staring at his time and space fortress with a look of curiosity and greed on his face. I felt funny in my heart. The gods and demons of the 6 realms, who have always been aloof and considered themselves the rulers of the divine continent, now actually look like they have never seen the world. It's really interesting. Suchen stood proudly in the void and laughed. Have you seen enough? If you have seen enough, let's fight. The Lord Gods of the 6 realms looked at each other, and a trace of light flashed past. Immediately they retreated hundreds of miles away. Give up thousands of square kilometers of magnificent battlefield. Suchen also retreated 100 miles. At the same time, millions of gods and demons stepped into the void and surged in with overwhelming murderous intent. Like black clouds covering the sky and the sun. On Suchen's side, the leader of the 8 Desolation Dragon Knights rode a 150-meter-long semi-god-level Golden Dragon King. He raised the Golden Dragon gun in his hand and shouted, "Dragon Knight! Fight to the death! Fight to the death! Fight to the death! Fight to the death!" For a moment, the tragic murderous intent instantly filled the entire blood domain space. The fighting spirit displayed by the 10,000 gods and demon dragon riders actually faintly overshadowed the millions of gods and demons on the opposite side. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At the same time, thousands of dragon knights of gods and demons activate the magical skill Same Robe with the sun at the same time. The lives of all dragon knights are connected with each other. At that time, any attack damage suffered will be shared equally. Kill. The 8 Desolations Dragon Knight pointed his golden dragon spear forward. Tens of thousands of gods and demons dragon knights immediately took the 8 Desolations Dragon Knight as the tip of their arrows, formed a sagittal shape, and rushed towards the millions of gods and demons who were as dark as a storm cloud in front of them. Umbrella Girl Yingying received Suchen's instructions and also controlled the time and space fortress. Driven by the source of power, she activated 10,000 god-killing towers at the same time and charged with the gods and demons dragon riders. Seeing this scene, the Lord God of the 6 realms and Douglas the others are delighted. The time and space fortress has completely blended into the battlefield. "Do you want to activate Void Annihilation now?" Ao Kishang said with slight excitement in her voice. Douglas has been waiting for a long time for the time and space fortress to be born, and now he is equally excited. However, he still forcibly suppressed the excitement in his heart, shook his head and said solemnly, "No. Wait a minute, that guy from Junlin is still on the edge of the battlefield, and all the Lord Gods are also waiting for the best time. This time we must fight. And it's all done." When Junlin also joins the battlefield, and is completely absorbed by the chaotic battle, and is locked by my great God of light, that's the best time to activate the magic. Bliss Jingkong nodded and looked at the projection in the void. The battlefield screen said Junlin is arrogant and thinks that 10,000 god-level dragon riders can fight against millions of gods and demons in our 6 realms, haha, even the great Yan Empire 1,000 years ago would not dare to use gods and demons like this. Dragon riders, without the dragon generals leading them, are just like soft-footed shrimps, their combat power is reduced by more than half. Li Changfeng stroked his beard and laughed. "Junlin, this kid is in chaos before the battle. He thinks that he can do it with the divine and demonic dragon riders in his hands. Being invincible in all directions is really ridiculous. This battle deserves a great victory for our 6 realms camp." Just when the great elders of each religion were preparing to watch the show, a loud shout suddenly sounded in the battlefield. United as one. Thousands of gods and demons dragon knights all fired a bloody spear, converging on the spear tip of the leading Bawang dragon knight. Using the powerful 8 desolate dragon riders as a relay, the attack power of thousands of gods and demon dragon riders was transformed into a 10,000-meter-long bloody horse with an attack power of more than 20 billion. And he slashed at the oncoming 204 generals and gods. This scene was so horrifying that the dead souls of the generals and gods and demons who came with the intention of killing were thrown out. The great elders of various religions who were watching the battlefield situation in the town meeting hall were also frightened and screamed. How can it be? How could these 10,000-headed dragon knights be able to slay united as one without the dragon general as the commander-in-chief? Etc. The leading dragon knight seems to be different from other dragon knights of gods and demons. I have never seen a dragon knight with such a powerful aura. Even in the great Yan Empire thousands of years ago, I have never seen such a powerful dragon rider. This aura is so strange, it's like it comes from ancient times. Could it be that, in addition to Junlin, these dragon riders also have a second dragon general? Bliss Kong was still saying just now that a dragon rider without a dragon general would be like a soft-footed shrimp. Now this extremely domineering bloody horse is like a loud slap on his face. Even if the city government is no longer deep, at this moment, the face is also changing from green to white. On the grand battlefield. Seeing this bloody streak that almost stretched across the sky, those general-level gods and demons who were charging towards them with a ferocious smile were so frightened that they all wanted to turn around and run away. Unfortunately, it's too late. The bloody horse came too fast and too suddenly. The range of its slashing is also too large and wide. There were 10 generals and god-level gods and demons on the spot, and they were instantly killed by this 10,000-meter blood-colored sword. It turned into blood mist and dispersed the world. This scene made all the gods and demons in the room, including the projections of the main gods, change their colors in horror. You know, even if it is the projection of the main god, the blood volume is only 20 billion at most. The divine demon dragon cavalry's united will unity strike is enough to kill them in an instant. Even the 6 main god clones looked sideways with shock in their eyes. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing general-level gods and demons *10. Gain experience points *50 billion. However, before these gods and demons could come back to their senses and take a breath, only 1 second passed. Tens of thousands of gods and demons dragon knights shouted again. The second united will's 10,000 meters blood horse Lian came again. Chi, chi, chi. Bang, bang, bang. Under the bloody training, one by one the terrifyingly powerful god-level gods and demons exploded like watermelons. There is no way to hide, no way to avoid. United as one. United as one. United as one. Under the vast sky and the bloody barrier, thousands of gods and demon dragon knights, led by the 8 desolate dragon knights, looked like they were going crazy. He activated the 10,000-meter-long blood-colored horse training non-stop, slashing in all directions. No matter whether it was a general-level god or a true god-level god or demon, they could not withstand this terrifying bloody attack. With thousands of gods and demons dragon riders as the center, no gods or demons can get close within a radius of 3,000 meters. No gods or demons dare to get close. Suddenly, the faces of the main gods who were about to watch the show began to turn gloomy. The great elders of various religions who were hiding in the small town conference hall were even more uncontrollable. It's like playing in an arcade. You control the game character long and keep shouting Adugan to launch the Hokan ultimate move without stopping for a moment. How can you let others fight? Asmodeus, the most explosive elder of Solomon, immediately roared, "Don't these stupid dragon riders have any other moves? They have been killed more than 10 times, why can't you stop for a moment? I'm not tired of fighting, I'm tired of watching. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 414. Certainly. It is impossible for Suchen's dragon cavalry army to stop. One fresh trick, eaten all over the world. Since united as one is so easy to use, why should I stop? Of course, if it's useful, you should use it until you die. Ding. Congratulations on successfully killing general-level gods and demons *10. Gain experience points *50 billion. Ding. Congratulations on successfully killing general-level gods and demons *10. Gain experience points *50 billion. Ding. On Suchen's side, wonderful kill sounds sounded in his mind. This feeling of just sitting aside and reaping the harvest is very beautiful. Suchen even took out a goblet, poured some mellow red wine, and took a sip. Ah! This world is so sour. Almost every second, 10 general-level gods and demons fell. Later, the god-level gods and demons saw that the situation was not good and fled in all directions. The 8 desolate dragon knights then used their 10,000-meter bloody horse to slash at the projection of the main god who was watching the show on the side. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the main god of the ghost world. 5 halls of Yama projection *1. Gain experience points *50 billion. Your reputation in the ghost world is -50 billion. This scene scared the remaining 45 projections of gods from all walks of life and scattered them. Cross the line, cross the line. You are only allowed to fight against millions of gods and demons. Who gave you the courage to kill the projection of our main god? Thousands of dragon knights ignored the shouts of these Lord God projections. As long as they were within the attack range, they all killed them with united as one. At the same time, the time and space fortress under the control of Yingying also rushed into the millions. In the storm clouds of gods and demons, thousands of god-killing towers with true damage attributes are at full fire. The level 1 god-killing tower has 1.5 million attack points, and the attack point of the level 2 god-killing tower is directly increased to 2.25 million. And the speed is as high as 3 rounds per second. The range is as high as 15,000 meters. In an instant, millions of semi-god level gods and demons and true god level gods and demons fell like raindrops in the void. After killing the gods and demons from the god-killing tower, in turn, its level can be upgraded. From level 1 to level 2, from level 2 to level 3. The attack, rate of fire, and range become higher, faster, and farther. The speed of killing gods and demons is also faster. And the attacks of millions of gods and demons on the time and space fortress, although they were as colorful as streams of light and made a lot of noise, were all blocked by the heaven universe formation outside. The center of the heavenly universe formation has been promoted to the advanced main god level by Suchen. The protection time against general level attacks is no longer limited by the total energy of the formation. In other words, no matter how many generals or attacks from the generals and below come from outside, it will be useless. For a moment, the experience value in Suchen's experience storage tank skyrocketed like crazy. Under the sky of thousands of miles, 10,000 gods and demons are riding dragons, a space-time fortress, just like a flesh and blood grinding mill or an automatic meat grinder, grinding millions of gods and demons until the blood rains down and the sky and earth change color. All the gods present did not expect such a scene. They thought that these millions of gods and demons would be enough to kill the opponent's gods and demon dragons with corpses scattered all over the field, and so that the opponent's time and space fortress was overwhelmed, forcing King Lin to take action personally. However, corpses were everywhere in the field, and they were in a state of embarrassment. Instead, they are the gods and demons of the 6 realms with their overwhelming numbers. Moreover, this was even before the former number 1 god general in the heavenly realm in the time and space fortress took action. If that person had taken action, I'm afraid the scene would have been even more miserable. Even the projections of their main gods cannot escape death. At the same time, above the earth, 50 million players from country Z have approached the commercial prince's capital city. The failure to fall Imperial City Guild, which was running at the front, had already arrived at the foot of the royal city. On the wall of the royal city, hundreds of thousands of civilians from 5 ethnic groups were garrisoned, armed with all kinds of inferior weapons, guarding the wall nervously but with incomparable determination. Suchen could only guarantee the safety of the 9 million 5 ethnic coalition. There are hundreds of millions of civilians in the entire 4 races of humans, beasts, dwarves, and elves. No matter how big the time and space fortress is, it cannot accommodate so many people. However, there is a crisis in the royal city. Yunfi Iyan has arranged for people to build more teleportation arrays to allow civilians in the royal city to teleport to Dragon City. But more people took up arms and stood up to fight against the enemy in order for their wives, children, and mothers behind them to reach Dragon City smoothly. Looking at the hundreds of millions of enemy troops that covered the entire land in front of them, the militia defenders on the city wall felt extremely tragic and were ready to die. In the sky, there are millions of gods and demons fighting against their commander Junlin. This cruel and epic battlefield can only be compared to the war between gods and demons that happened thousands of years ago that was passed down orally by their ancestors. Amon, take this horn bow and go to the city to protect your Amu and Ame. It's enough that my father is here to watch over me. On the city wall, an old Tauren held a thick wooden stick in his hand and said to his son beside him. The son stubbornly held onto the horn bow in his hand, his face full of fear, but stubbornly said, I won't leave. The commander can fight? I, Amon, can also fight? If I can retreat, then the other people on the city wall can also retreat. Then who will protect my Amu and Ame, and other people's Amu and Ame? The old Tauren looked at his son with both relief and sadness. He was pleased with his son's bravery and sensibleness, and was saddened by the impending death of both father and son. Under the city wall, there were hundreds of millions of enemy troops. Ah! No matter what, they can't defend it? At this moment, the young Tauren suddenly pointed at the city and shouted, Dad! Look! Those foreigners, they started fighting among themselves. The old Tauren was shocked. He opened his muddy old eyes and looked around quickly. He saw only the bottom of the city wall. Some foreigners suddenly shouted with great anger, raised their weapons high, and slashed at another group of foreigners. They were chopped down. The foreigners are equally angry. Alliances are killing each other. This is really vicious competition. For a moment, the enemy army that had rushed to the foot of the city wall suddenly became chaotic. And this chaos, accompanied by 5/10 of millions of players from Country Z, collectively went crazy, and it soon spread to the entire battlefield and the entire land. Not falling into the Imperial City Guild gang leader fought in all directions, slashed down the fastest Y Country leader player with one sword, and roared. Fuck you. If you dare to compete with me for contribution points, go to hell. In the guild channel, some members shouted boss, some ghost guys said that as long as they don't kill them, they will give up their contribution points and the royal city to us. What excuse can we use to mess with them in this situation? Hunzan Bawang roared, idiot. Don't you understand the saying, how can you allow others to snore on the side of the bed, only dead allies will not steal our contribution points. Fuck excuses. Just cut it. Never let a ghost guy enter the royal city. Boss, the leader of the Gilo Guild says that we are engaging in vicious competition and deliberately holding back the army, and wants to sue us. Sue him. You tell them. I am the god of light behind the scenes. Beast Blood Boil's famous family dominate the world, behind them are the Dark God, the Jade Dragon God, and the Taoist Xian. If you have the guts, go to the 6 realms. Sue his mother-in-law. If you sue me, I will take his last name. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 415. A total of 50 million players from Country Z suddenly slashed at the foreign allied forces beside them. Shocked and confused the 90 million players of the 20-nation alliance. What are you doing? We haven't even taken the royal city yet, why should we start the fight ourselves? It's Countryman Z. Those damn Z Country guys said that stealing contribution points is like killing parents, and they will kill whoever runs faster than them. Damn it. In order to compete for contribution points, directly kill the allies? Is he sick? The faces of War Overlord and others who saw the scene were as gloomy as water. Although the banner of players in Country Z is to compete for contribution points, so there is vicious competition. But the minds of the world's top guilds, such as War Overlord, are not so easy to fool. Combined with the previous situation of Country Z, the players passively fought, and then suddenly rushed into the battlefield en masse. After 3 minutes of gathering, they launched an attack. Now they brazenly massacred the allies. After thinking about it, these Z Country players are not vicious competition at all, but it's rebellion and rebellion. So outrageous. In the virtual conference hall of the 20-Nation Alliance, many guild heads were furious. This is not taking our alliance army seriously at all. Don't take the entire Six Realms camp seriously either. Let alone our 20-Nation Alliance. I'm going to sue them. Tell them that they will never recover. A guild leader said in a faint tone. A guild in country Z called Bulugo Imperial City responded and said that we can go ahead and file a lawsuit. He said that behind them stood the great god of light, the great god of darkness, the great god of Jade Dragon, and the great god of Xian. Lord Tiandeo, tell us to go to the Six Realms and sue the Lord God if we have the guts. Upon hearing these words, the entire conference hall fell silent for an instant. After a long time, someone whispered, "Is this bragging? We have spent so much effort and failed to directly obtain the support of the main gods. Their country Z has already received the support of the main gods, and it is also the support of the four major gods." The war overlord looked like he said gloomily, "Do you believe this? I think the 50 million players in country Z have already betrayed our Six Realm camp. Before, they secretly helped the independent camp and did not work in our Six Realm camp. But now they have done so blatantly. Rebel. The reason for finding an excuse to snatch contribution points is just to confuse us and cause greater losses to our alliance army." Alexander said with a solemn face. "In order to build the blood domain space, our 20-Nation Alliance died. There are 110 million people, now we only have 90 million people left, and there are 50 million players in country Z. If the two fight, we can only win miserably, and the losses will be immeasurable." War the Overlord waved his hand and said, "Now is not the time to worry about losses. Send me an order to announce that the players from country Z have essentially betrayed our Six Realm camp. All the players from the Six Realms camp will immediately surround and kill the players from country Z. No mercy." However, during the meeting, during the discussion among the leaders in the hall, a top assassin from the Z country military came to the back of the players' army invisibly. After carefully observing the battlefield situation, he immediately secretly sent a text message to the Commander-in-Chief Yun Fi. "Command, command. The Strickling fish is already in place. Will the Great Yvonne plan be launched?" Yun Fi-Ian's eyes narrowed, and after checking the assassin's location coordinates and the situation on the battlefield, he immediately said, "It can be started." Yun Fi-Ian's words had just finished. Behind the battlefield, a Z-country assassin suddenly withdrew from stealth. Looking at the astonished eyes of the 20-Nation Alliance players around him, he curled up the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, "Here, let me show you. A big baby." Immediately took out the demigod-level spring, ancestor of the bomb given by Su Chen. Then, under everyone's horrified eyes, it detonated directly. A bang. The ground shook violently. A huge mushroom cloud suddenly rose into the sky. The terrifying explosion shockwave immediately covered a distance of 100,000 meters. The damage power of up to 500,000 points directly wiped out all 80 million players behind the battlefield. At the same time, the dead bodies of these players received the spring of tigers and wolves that lasted for 12 hours. Negative state. Because the players from country Z rushed to the royal city first. Among the 140 million players in the entire battlefield, most of the players from country Z rushed to the front. Most of the players from the 20-Nation Alliance were at the rear. This 99% of the 80 million players wiped out by spring, the ancestor of the bomb, were players from the 20-Nation Alliance. Only a few slow players from country Z were affected. This sudden strike was comparable to the explosion of the nuclear bomb, shocked even the gods and demons in the sky. The war overlord who was ordering the siege and killing of the players in country Z suddenly froze when he saw the scene on the battlefield. In the huge virtual conference hall of the 20-Nation Alliance, hundreds of people, the heads of the guild, looked at the huge mushroom cloud rising on the virtual screen. Their hands and feet were cold and their expressions were horrified. Of the 90 million 20-nation alliance players, 80 million were wiped out in one fell swoop. The remaining 1,000, how can we round up and kill nearly 50 million players from country Z when we are defeated? But this is not enough. On the side of the players from country Z, a tall, hot, and soft-looking young woman suddenly stood up, surrounded by everyone. Come out. Wave the staff in your hand and recite the obscure and difficult spell. Immediately afterwards, the elements between heaven and earth suddenly fluctuated. There was even an elemental storm. In the storm, elemental elves hundreds of meters high condensed from the void, obeyed the call of this young woman and killed the players of the alliance of 20 nations. The elemental elves of the elemental tribe have a natural affinity for the perfect elements. The spells inspired can bring out the most powerful power of every element. Any spell in the hands of elemental elves, they can exert no less power than forbidden spells. In an instant, the players in country Z seem to have obtained dozens of magic gods, and countless powerful spells and forbidden spells are worthless in the hands of these elemental elves, usually thrown towards the players of the alliance of 20 nations. Suchen, who was standing in the void and drinking red wine, was slightly surprised when he saw this young woman. Huh? It turned out to be her, the famous Queen of Elements in her previous life. The Queen of Elements in her previous life also had a military background in country Z. Later, during the all-out war, she followed the footsteps of the government of country Z and chose to serve for the Six Realms camp. She was one of the major enemies of Suchen's independent camp. Unexpectedly, in this life, this once mortal enemy actually became a person on his side, fighting for himself. Destiny is such a wonderful thing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 416. A bomb wiped out 80 million players in the Six Realms camp. Then he summoned dozens of elemental elves with demigod or even god-level strength. The remaining 10 million players of the 20-nation alliance immediately woke up from confusion and shock, and ran wildly crying for their fathers and mothers. That speed was actually much faster than the previous rush to the royal city. On the wall of the royal city, the Tauren Amon and his old father were stunned. Dad, these foreigners kill our own people even more ruthlessly than we kill our enemies. The old Tauren looked pale and said with a trembling voice, fortunately, they started fighting among themselves first, otherwise, that bomb alone would be enough to wipe out our entire royal city. Amon, it's too dangerous outside. I'll see you later. These foreigners must not be impulsive, run as far as you can. Amon nodded heavily, deeply agreeing with his father's words. In the virtual conference hall of the 20-nation alliance, the leader of the Viking Guild screamed, "Traitor! Definitely a traitor! All players in country Z have rebelled. This bomb was definitely given to them by King's Landing. All 800,000 members of the guild are dead. And all of them obtain the Spring of Tigers and Wolves status that lasts for 12 hours. It's exactly the same situation as the previous sneak attack in King's Landing." The other guild heads also screamed. "Our guild is also, 500,000 people from Male Goba died. He also got hit by the Spring of Tigers and Wolves and couldn't be resurrected for a full 12 hours. What a total war. I'm going bankrupt." Before departure, I promised the guild members that they would be given a pension in the event of death. Now that nothing has been caught and everyone is dead, what should we do? What do I do? It's so gloomy. The people of country Z are so shady. Facing the wailing of the audience, the faces of War Overlord and others were not much better. Even if the guild members like them ran fast, only 10% to 30% of the members were left. And they were still facing a total of 50 million. The Z country players and the powerful elemental clan were slaughtered one-sidedly. Alexander said solemnly, "We must ask for help from the elders of the Six Realms. If we wait any longer, our people will all die." right? There are millions of gods and demons above us. NPCs from the six realms can help us turn the tables if they support 10,000 gods and demons. The elders will definitely agree. We have contributed so many resources before, and hundreds of millions of people have died in building the blood domain space for them. The elders will definitely not ignore death. For a time, hundreds of guild heads in the conference hall turned from sadness to joy and said extremely excitedly. However, as the war overlord with the highest status among the six realms of NPC forces and Kuroda Aio, they were silent. For a long time, Kuroda Aio was silent. He said with a sad face as early as the first time, "We have sent a message for help, the elders mean that we should hold on, they can't spare any manpower now." How can it be? More than 1,000,000 gods and demons, and dozens of main gods have arrived. Can't you spare some manpower? If you don't have 10,000, even 1,000 gods and demons will do. For NPCs in the six realms, isn't this just a matter of sprinkling water? Faced with everyone's doubts, the war overlord remained silent and turned the giant virtual screen in the conference hall to the void. Tens of thousands of golden gods and demons dragon riders were seen rushing into millions of gods and demons, as if entering a deserted land. Under the 10,000 meters of bloody horses, no one can stop it. The huge time and space fortress is like a killing machine, and the 10,000 god-killing towers strangle countless gods and demons. Wherever they fly, the gods and demons there will be wiped out. Millions of gods the demons were scattered like bereaved dogs. Even the projections of dozens of main gods were trying to avoid them. Under the vast sky and the blood-colored barrier, the gods and demons who used to be extremely powerful and invincible in the world were now like snowflakes. They all fell one after another. The whole scene was like the end of the world. For a moment, the entire virtual conference hall was completely silent. Everyone's heart became cold. The NPCs of the six realms really didn't lie to them, even if there were millions gods and demons, they really can't spare any manpower now. The war overlord broke the dead silence in the hall and said in a deep voice, "No one comes to save us, we will save ourselves. Didn't your country R and country E also prepare the Purgatory tribe and the Dragon tribe? Summon it immediately. Maybe we can save millions of people from coming back." Kuroda Yayo and the Guild of Country E nodded seriously. The war overlord is right. Even if you are raped, you have to struggle symbolically. How can there be any reason to let the other party ravage you? In order to avoid being interfered with the summoning technique by players from Country Z, a few elite players from Country R and Country E escorted their respective summoners away from the main battlefield under the Royal City, came to the back of the battlefield, and activated the summons. Immediately, two huge space portals were opened. Both portals were gushing. The smell of hot sulfur, but one exudes an evil aura, and the other exudes a domineering aura. Ants, you have opened the door to Purgatory, but it is not so easy to close. I, the Purgatory clan, will not go back unless we turn the world into hell. I, Artros Lord of the Volcano, will lead my Red Dragon clan to dominate this battlefield. In the huge space portal, an extremely terrifying and tyrannical voice came. Seeing this, the war overlord and others were excited, staring at the portal with great anticipation. Soon, there was a black-red spiral horn on one end, the terrifying existence with lava surging all over its body stuck out its head from the space portal. On the other side, a red dragon with a body length of more than 300 meters and an equally terrifying aura also stepped out of the portal with murderous intent. Players from Country Zihi and Yunfi also noticed the scene behind the battlefield. They were considering whether to send another assassin to carry out the Little Ivan plan with the forbidden tears of God's cry given by Suchen. Battlefield behind, the Purgatory clan and the Red Dragon clan who had just stepped out of the portal suddenly froze. They seemed to sense some extremely terrifying aura, and turned their necks stiffly little by little, looking towards the sky. That is, the sky is full of gods and demons. Projection of the Lord God. The main god's clone. And, the god demon dragon riders of the great Yan Empire. Could this be, a battlefield between gods and demons? Damn it! The two kings of the Purgatory tribe and the Red Dragon tribe were shaken suddenly. Then they retracted into the portal at a speed 100 times faster than when they came out. When they retracted, they did not forget to slap the one to death. The summoner who summoned himself and others. Damn it! Even the dragon knights of gods and demons came out. Millions of gods and demons came to the world. Dozens of main gods came out. They summoned us on this kind of battlefield because they were afraid that we would die. Isn't it fast enough? Unlike the pure elemental elves, the Purgatory clan and the Red Dragon clan are greedy, selfish, domineering and evil, and their relationship with the summoner is only a pure profit relationship. When the situation is not good, of course you have to run. Don't run, do you want to be cannon fodder here? As the Purgatory tribe and the Red Dragon retreated, the two huge space portals were completely closed and disappeared. All the 20-nation alliance players who saw the scene were completely dumbfounded. They had originally raised their hopes. The tens of millions of players from the Six Realms camp of the light felt instantly ice cold in their hearts. The guilds of Country R and Country E were even dumbfounded. It's not that the door to Purgatory won't be closed once it's opened, and the world won't turn into hell. You Purgatory tribe, won't you go back? Didn't you agree to lead the Red Dragon clan to dominate this entire battlefield? Damn it, you just stretched out half of your body and then you retracted and shot our summoner to death. This is what the hell is called the Purgatory clan? The Red Dragon clan? WDNMD. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 417. The alliance of 20 nations failed to summon the Purgatory tribe and Dragon tribe. The ground battlefield is completely dominated by players from Country Z. The remaining tens of millions of players were slaughtered by the 50 million players of Country Z and dozens of powerful elemental races. Equipment and items exploded all over the ground. The War Overlord and others looked pale, and there was a wailing in the virtual conference hall. It's over, we're completely done. Even if the Six Realms camp wins Total War, not many of us will be able to get many contribution points. The Six Realms camp won if we couldn't hold on. All of our guilds were already dead, and they were the kind of people who suffered from the spring of tigers and wolves. Asshole. They're all bastards. Fraud. They are all liars. I'm broke. Bankrupt. Ah. The alliance of 20 nations is in a bleak situation. In the void, millions of gods and demons were defeated by Suchen's dragon riders and Time and Space Fortress. The lowest of the thousands of god-killing towers in the Time and Space Fortress has been upgraded to level 3, and the highest it has even been upgraded to level 5. Each level up can increase the basic performance by an additional 50%. At level 3 the attributes of the god-killing tower are doubled, and at level 5, they are tripled. With one shot, the attack is 4.5 million, and the range and rate of fire have been increased by 3 times. In addition, the advanced Dragon Rider evolution armor equipped on the God and Demon Dragon Rider also has 4.5 million attacks per kill. It can greatly improve the attributes of armor. The stronger the gods and demons, the greater the improvement. Under the leadership of the 8 desolate Dragon Knights, the 10,000-headed gods and demons Dragon Rider has slaughtered nearly 100,000 semi-god level gods and demons and 20,000 true god level gods. Gods and demons as well as dozens of general god level gods and demons. Even the main god level projection was killed. Now, the average armor defense point and attack point of each god dragon knight have more than doubled. This also makes this the attacks of the myriad gods and demons dragon riders are becoming more and more sharp. The key point is that neither the Time and Space Fortress nor the gods and demons dragon riders are afraid of the other party's attacks. The Time and Space Fortress is defended by the Heaven Universe formation. The gods and demons dragon riders, because the life and damage of Yuzai Tongbao are shared, even if the main god level projection attacks up to 1.5 billion, each god and demon dragon knight will only lose 150,000 blood. This is different from the more than 8 million golden god and demon dragon knights. The blood volume is insignificant in comparison. The god devil dragon rider also has god demon physique, which can return 1% of blood per second in non-combat state. Even in combat state, it can automatically return 0.1% of blood per second. In addition, there are the water of life given to them by Suchen was enough to keep them in full strength for a long time and fight endlessly. Seeing that millions of gods and demons were chopped up like melons and vegetables, 500,000, nearly half, and dozens of them died. The main god who was watching the battle finally couldn't sit still. Dao Lord Xiantian and the great god of light, I see that the opponent's god demon dragon riders and time and space fortress have already conquered the enemy. Should we also take the opportunity to drag that King's Landing into the battlefield, and then find time to activate Void Annihilation? Yes, if this continues, our people will not be able to hold on at first. These gods and demons dragon riders and time and space fortresses are too terrifying, and the killing speed is too fast. If we wait any longer, all of our people will be killed. Even the main god of the first realm said the word terrible, which shows how powerful the fighting power of Suchen's god demon dragon rider and the time and space fortress are. The 6 main gods of the 6 realms, including the great god of light, looked at each other. Nodded. The heat is almost there, it's time to catch this big fish. At this moment, the clones of the 6-tailed main god and the projections of 45 main gods all surged with divine power. The surrounding void was like a huge stone dropped, shaking the space into huge waves. Even the true god-level gods and demons faced such a violent space. The twists and fluctuations also caused injuries, vomiting blood, and the shock of fleeing far away. It was different from the nonsense before. At this time, these 51 main gods immediately launched an attack at the moment when the murderous intention was strong. Of the 45 main god projections, a full 30 of them joined forces. All the remaining true gods and general-level gods and demons attacked Suchen's dragon-riding army of gods and demons with all their strength. The other 15 were responsible for containing the time and space fortress. The 6 main god clones directly tore open the space, stepped forward, and arrived instantly. Suchen raised his head, and then used all his might to kill with all his strength. The moment Suchen sensed the attacks of the 6 main gods and raised his head, the Pope of Light, who was far away in Guangming City, immediately launched a big prophecy with the clones of the main gods of Guangming. Technique. The superposition of 2 high-level divine arts instantly locks Suchen's aura. And on the dome of the blood domain space, a strange purple-black cloud with a radius of 10,000 meters, under the urging of the elders of each religion in the 6 realms camp, also it condensed silently at this moment. Incomparably terrifying power surged out from this seemingly small strange cloud. It was faintly 10 times greater than the threat posed to Suchen by the clones of the 6 major gods. Times, dozens of times. And immediately used the great prophecy technique to lock onto Suchen below. Silently. A purple-black dragon-shaped lightning that was only 10 meters long came out of the purple-black strange cloud and struck with lightning. With great speed, he rushed up to Suchen below. And all of this was almost completed in an instant. All actions were carefully designed and calculated. The divine demon dragon rider, the time and space fortress, and Suchen himself were all attacked at the same time. To a super attack. Lu Yuanzong, who had been waiting in the fortress, realized the crisis at this moment, and could only slash at the 15 main god projections around him while roaring. Suchen had no time to save him. Thousands of gods and demon dragons riding on the opponent's sudden supersaturated attack, it is possible to capsize at any time. Even with magical skills such as 2 robes with the sun, 10,000 Dragon Knights with a combined health volume of less than 90 billion cannot resist the opponent's attack. At this moment, a super attack of up to 150 billion was condensed. Suchen's side was even more dangerous. 6 main god level clones were attacking with all their strength. The basic attack attribute of each main god clone reached about 4.5 billion. Suchen's blood volume is less than 600 million, how can he withstand it? Not to mention that there is a more terrifying purple and black lightning, the top magic void annihilation that is enough to kill the Lord God is coming. Face it. With this fatal blow, Suchen raised his eyes to look at the 6 main god clones. There was no trace of fear at all, and they were terrifyingly calm. In the eyes of the great god of light, Taoist Xiantian, and others, there was even a faint hint of fear in their eyes. There was also a sense of surprise. Surprise. What was he being surprised about? He was going to die, so he was still surprised. However, just when the main god's clone attack and the void annihilation technique were about to come, Suchen's fists were already on his chest. There was a crash. At the same time, with a thought, the 10,000-headed dragon knights of gods and demons and the black dragon G Mengli under their feet were all absorbed into the space and body of the dragon general. The projections of 30 main gods and tens of thousands of high-level gods and demons were sure to kill the dragon knights. The blow was missed in an instant. As for Suchen, the moment his fists collided, he successfully activated level 66 God Descends to Earth. At the same time, Super Speed Evil Madness and Battle of the Eight Wastes were also activated at the same time. HP, defense, and movement speed all increase by 76 times. Attack increased by 78 times. Attack speed increased to 15 times. The blood volume has increased to 45 billion. Attacks increased to 4.45 billion. Defense has increased to nearly 1.3 billion. The figure also increased 76 times in this moment. Reached nearly 150 meters. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 418. Under the horrified gazes of the 6 main god clones, the giant version of Suchen thought. The equipment attribute imperial power of the artifact unparalleled crown directly absorbed the 10-meter-long purple-black lightning void annihilation shot from the lightning. The whole process was smooth and smooth. It was as if the purple and black lightning had disappeared out of thin air. Seeing this scene, the clones of the 6 main gods suddenly became horrified. This is the top magic void annihilation. It was their 6 realms that dispatched millions of gods and demons and 52 main gods. The forces of the divine continent camp also dispatched tens of millions of troops. Hundreds of elders from various religions spent countless efforts and invested countless resources. In addition, it also consumed the lives of hundreds of millions of players from the 6 realms camp. Countless people worked hard to create the best environment and opportunity to unleash the top-notch magic void annihilation. Actually, it just disappeared like that. The whole process of disappearing was as easy as a chicken feather being blown away. At this moment, as much as the 6 main god clones looked forward to this void annihilation, they felt so disappointed in their hearts. It felt like half of my heart had been taken away by Suchen. It was bloody and cold. Fortunately, facing the siege of the clones of our 6 main gods, he can't survive, right? Even if you transform into a giant, you still have to die, right? How the top magic void annihilation disappeared, they have no time to care about. In this flash of lightning, they can only hope to kill Suchen in a full blow from the 6 of them. After all, the 6 major the combined attack of the main god clones is a full 27 billion. Of course, if they could see Suchen's current attributes like the players, they would definitely not have such hope. Nearly 1.3 billion defense, each main god clone the 4.5 billion attack was weakened to 3.2 billion. A series of minus 3.2 billion, immediately floated above Suchen's head, terrorist attack. However, the 45 billion blood volume only dropped to less than half of 19.2 billion. Then he used the massive water of life in the backpack space to replenish it instantly. This scene was very interesting. The main god's clone changed color in shock. What? Unable to kill him. The blood volume has only dropped so much. Is our attack too weak? Or is he too strong? Not good. We all calculated wrong. This guy is catching our fish. Go quickly. Grass. Fell into a trap. The 6 main gods reacted suddenly, turned around and wanted to run away. Unfortunately, it was too late. How could the fish meat that fell into Suchen's hands be allowed to slip away like this? Suchen raised the artifact that was more than 100 meters long in his hand. Emperor Zushen. Chi, 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 chi. 2x critical hit, minus 8.9 billion. 10x critical hit, minus 44.5 billion. 5x critical hit, minus 26.75 billion. Life bonus. 4 double critical hit, minus 17.8 billion. With the blessing of 15 times the attack speed and the high critical hit of Shura's strike. Almost every 3 swords can kill a main god clone. If you are lucky, you can trigger a 10-fold critical strike, and even 2 swords can kill the main god's clone with 50 billion health. Suchen can now swing 15 swords in 2 seconds. Within the first second, 3 main god clones were directly killed by Suchen. The other 3 main gods reacted and immediately tore open the void, trying to escape. Want to run? Die for me. Suchen had a ferocious smile on his lips, and he kept swinging the sword in his hand. He slowed down a little, and one of the main god clones that had penetrated half of the body into the void was exploded again. Only the 2 main god clones were lucky enough to step into the void, and they got there in a flash. Tens of thousands of meters away. Unexpectedly, before they could take a breath, Suchen's flash had already arrived in front of them. There happened to be a large number of demigod-level gods and demons within a kilometer of the surrounding area. The divine skill slaying battle Beifang immediately reached its peak, superimposing the magical skill super speed evil madness, and the attack speed was instantly increased to an unprecedented 109 times. In only 0.1 seconds, Suchen completed 6 sword attacks. The last 2 main god clones were also there in extreme horror. It exploded into blood mist. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the main god's clone God Realm God of Light *1. Obtain experience value 250 billion, Essence of Gods and Demons 250, God Realm Great Soul Seal of Light *1, and Reputation value of God Realm minus 250 billion. Ding! The level of your title God Killer has been increased from level 3 to level 5. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing the main god's clone Ultimate Bliss Bodhisattva *1. Gain experience value 250 billion, Essence of Gods and Demons 250, Bliss Realm Blissful Bodhisattva Soul Seal *1, and Reputation value in the God Realm minus 250 billion. Ding! The level of your title God Killer has been increased from level 5 to level 7. Ding! In less than 2 seconds, all the clones of the 6 main gods died under Suchen's sword. The kill prompt sounded in his mind. The title God Killer is even more upgraded. Every time you kill a main god clone, you will jump 2 levels. After the death of the 6-headed main god clone, the title of God Killer reached level 15. It can also increase the damage bonus by an additional 5% against the main god level units. The extra damage bonus to true god level units has been increased to 50%, and the god level unit has been increased to 30%. At the same time, the experience value was also gained to the tune of 1.5 trillion. There are also 1,500 copies of God and Demon Essence that can be used to improve qualification levels. Cool! Suchen laughed loudly, and kept the heavy sword in his hand. While waiting for the flash skill to cool down for 2 seconds, he continued to use the sword to slash other gods and demons around him. At the same time, his eyes swept towards the remaining dozens of main god projections, and these main god projections, when they were swept by Suchen's sharp gaze, were all shocked. Their eyes were full of horror and confusion. I couldn't understand why, in just less than 2 seconds, inside, the reversal was so huge. Didn't all the clones of the 6 major gods attack Junlin? Didn't the top divine skill Void Annihilation already lock the opponent? Why did the purple-black lightning that could kill the master god suddenly missing? Why were the 6 main gods who descended into clones instantly killed, and in the end none of them escaped and all died in the hands of the other party? I can't understand it, but the fear and crisis in my heart, however, they made the most correct choice at the first time: escape. If the space is torn apart, they can only escape to the edge of the blood space. After leaving the blood space, they will die. The only way now is to use it as soon as possible. Only by returning to the void channel that connects the 6 realms can one avoid death. You must know that even if it is just a projection and is killed in the god's domain, its body in the 6 realms will also be harmed to a certain extent. And like light, if the clone of the great god Andea Junxiantian is killed like that, the main body will suffer nearly 1/3 of the damage. This kind of damage reaches the soul, and it will be difficult to return to its full strength even after 1,000 years. Quick! Escape! This boy's fighting power far exceeds our imagination. He obviously possesses the strength of the Lord God, but he has been holding back. It's too deep and terrifying. I thought I was fishing, but I ended up being swallowed by a fish. Go back and change your strategy immediately. This guy has threatened the safety of my 6 realms, and he is growing too fast. You must open the land of Tianyuan in advance to kill this beast. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 419. Open the void channel? Withdraw to the 6 realms. Where did you put me, Mr. Liu? An arrogant voice suddenly sounded in the battlefield. Liu Yuanzong, 1,000 meters tall, stood on the time and space fortress holding the heaven-splitting divine halberd. The halberd pierced into the void. Tiangong 36 cuts the first style, shattering the sky. Boom. Ding. Congratulations on successfully killing the main god's projection demon realm Eye of the Abyss *1. Gain experience value 50 billion, essence of gods and demons 50. Your reputation value in Devil World is minus 50 billion. Among the 15 main god projections responsible for containing the time and space fortress, one of the closest ones was immediately stabbed directly by the halberd. The remaining 14 main god projections looked horrified and had to interrupt the opening of the void passage and scattered in panic. They were scattered. Responsible only for containing the time and space fortress, now the 6 main god clones have been killed by Suchen, and top magical skills such as Void Annihilation have disappeared for no reason. The big fish Junlin that I wanted to catch has now become a prehistoric Tyrannosaurus. They still have a shitty time and space fortress to contain. Protecting this projection and preventing their respective bodies from being damaged is the first priority. What a bunch of idiots. Hurry up and protect me. As these Lord God projections fled, they shouted angrily at the gods and demons around them, so anxious that their voices changed. These gods and demons had never seen their masters in such embarrassment. However, the orders of the Lord God could not be violated. Countless gods and demons came to them one after another. Besieged by the time and space fortress. Fleeing without a fight and trying to get by with these shrimp soldiers and crab generals. Where did you put me, Mr. Liu? Liu Yuanzong roared with anger again. The master, with his unparalleled attitude, swept away 6 powerful clones of the Lord God in just 2 seconds. Slaughtering the clones of the Lord God was like slaughtering a dog. As the servant of the master, Lu Yuan Zone, as the former heavenly realm, how could the first god general be embarrassed? There was a buzz. Under the control of Ying, the huge time and space fortress suddenly teleported to the place where the projections of a group of main gods were densest. At this moment, Lu Yuan Zone was like a tiger rushing into a herd of sheep. The god-splitting halberd in his hand was instantly transformed into a whirlwind and a crazy stick. At this moment, Lu Yuanzong's level 100 combat mastery was brought into full play. His attack speed was unprecedentedly sharp. Tiangong 36 cuts second style, soul destruction. Tiangong 36 cuts the third form, god breaking. Tiangong 36 cuts fourth style, split the sky. On the other side, the cooldown time of Suchen's flash skill has expired. Immediately, his body flashed and he teleported to a bunch of projections of the Lord God. Summon Black Dragon Ji Mengli. The divine weapon killing Heaven Emperor in his hand was like chopping melons and vegetables, slashing at the projections of the surrounding gods. At the same time, tens of thousands of golden god demon dragon riders were released. Under the leadership of the leader Bawang Dragon Rider, united as one was frequently used. The 10,000-meter bloody horse used an extremely domineering attitude to kill the projection of a famous god. Lu Yuanzone, Suchen, the divine demon dragon rider, the three parties are all the same beings who kill the Lord God's projection. There is also Ying who controls the time and space fortress, and the thousands of god-killing towers bloom like fireworks towards the surrounding gods and demons with red streams of light. For a time, the gods and demons of the six realms, who had lost their biggest killer weapon, were killed by Suchen's side within the bloody barrier. Their flesh and blood were everywhere, rain of blood poured down, and they were scattered in panic. But the blood domain space was so big. These gods and demons of the six realms did not dare to escape from the scope of the blood domain space. Escape back to the six realms and it will take time to open the void passage. But how could Suchen give them a chance to escape? Whenever anyone opens the void channel, they will immediately flash or teleport over and be killed directly. At one time, dozens of main gods were projected, some yelling and cursing, and some pretending to seek perfection. King's Landing, stay a little safe today so we can meet you tomorrow. Don't go too far in your behavior. Don't think that today's scene is the full strength of my six realms. To tell you the truth, the power of the six realms is beyond your imagination. If we are allowed to leave safely, our six realms may consider sparing your life. Let the projection of my master leave, and I will reward you with these three divine heads. I will reward you with a sword. Give you death. Suchen ignored him and swung his sword to kill him. In just 3 minutes, only 5 of the 46 main god projections were killed. 30 people died in Suchen's hands. Lu Yuanzone was restrained since they couldn't leave the time and space fortress, and the teleportation time of the time and space fortress was 10 seconds, the number of kills was only 9. After all, the flying speed of the thousands of god and demon dragon knights was a bit slower, and only 2 main god projections who were panicking were killed. The most numerous ones are those gods and demons at the level of generals and true gods. And the 10,000 god-killing towers of the time and space fortress killed countless gods and demons in these 3 minutes. The level of god-killing tower has been raised to the lowest level 5, and the highest level has even reached level 7. The 5 remaining main god projections knew that there was no hope of escape. They looked at each other with a sharp look in their eyes. King's arrival. You have no intention of killing the gods and demons of our 6 realms today. You will definitely be killed in the future and you will never be reincarnated for 100 lifetimes. The blood feud will definitely be washed away with blood one day. The projections of the 5 main gods tore open the void and rushed towards Suchen with extremely ferocious expressions. Divine power surged around their bodies, and the 1,000-meter-tall figure had a faint tendency to expand and explode. This was clearly an attempt to initiate self-destruction and perish together with Suchen. If not, even if they have no choice but to do so, they will not go this far. You must know that the damage caused by the self-destruction projection is equivalent to the death of the clone. It will also be difficult to recover in 1,000 years. But if they don't self-destruct now, they will only die in a more humiliating way. They can only make a desperate move. Self-destruction to maintain the dignity of the six realms and the Lord God. Because they also know that Junlin, as a foreign player, can easily resurrect even if he kills the opponent with self-destruction. After all, this is not a top-level magic void annihilation, and it does not block resurrection, the special power of death without rebirth. Suchen immediately brought the 10,000 gods and demons dragon knights and the black dragon G Mengli into the dragon general's space and body. At this time, the projections of the 5 main gods had already arrived. They all shouted loudly. King's arrival. Go to hell. The Lord God cannot be insulted. Humiliation will lead to death. At the moment when the 5 of them were about to self-destruct, Suchen tilted the corner of his mouth and hit flash, and he had already arrived in the time and space fortress. The 5 main god projections immediately stared with anger and shock. Not good. He hid in the time and space fortress, cancel the self-destruction. MMP. I blew myself up too early, I can't control it anymore. Fuck you. If you can't control it, get away from me. Get out of the bleeding space. Hold on, you fucking must hold on. I can't stand still, yeah boom. The projection of a demon world lord exploded with a bang. The huge power swept across the projections of the 4 main gods around him, as well as countless gods and demons within a radius of 100,000 meters. The projections of these last 4 main gods, even if they were killed, they would not have thought that they would be killed by one of their own people in the end. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 420. Suchen stood in the time and space fortress. The huge shockwave was firmly blocked by the heavenly universe formation. Looking at the gods and demons below who were instantly emptied, he gritted his teeth. Malagoba died restlessly, wasting so much of my experience points. When I reach the 6th realm, I will get it back 100 times. At that moment, he summoned the gods and demons dragon rider again to clean up the remaining gods and demons. He himself led the black dragon G Mengli to clean up the battlefield everywhere. At the same time, he used the artifact Dowdy to seize the treasures of hundreds of thousands of gods and demons who died in the self-destruction. Godhead. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining the true God level Godhead about to collapse *20,000. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining the true God level Godhead about to collapse *30,000. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining the general level Godhead about to collapse *79. Ding. Congratulations on getting Blood of Gods and Demons *250,000. Ding. Congratulations on getting Blood of Gods and Demons *630,000. Ding. Massive amounts of divine head and blood of gods and demons poured into Suchen's spatial backpack. More than half of the 100,000 slots in the backpack were filled in an instant. There are 100 copies in a set, and the blood of gods and demons alone has a queue of 10,000 or 20,000 sets, and the number continues to increase rapidly. There were even more 30 or 40,000 sets of other equipment collected by Black Dragon G Mengli. Suchen doesn't have time to break down which equipment belongs to players and which equipment comes from gods and demons. Just wave your hand. Ding. Spending gold coins *900,000, your space backpack has been expanded to 10 million spaces. Well, this seems a lot empty. Tens of thousands of gods and demons, dragon riders, and time and space fortresses are still chasing the gods and demons of the 6 realms. But there are also some gods and demons who took advantage of all the main gods to die, and Suchen and others did not notice them. At that time, they secretly opened the 6 realm passage in the corner to escape. However, very few gods and demons could successfully escape. Most of them were brutally slaughtered in the previous war. Among them, there were about 300,000 gods and demons who were killed by the last one. The self-destruction of the main god-level projection cleared the air in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. As the number of gods and demons in the blood domain space became less and less, some remaining gods and demons began to launch self-destruction attacks on the golden god devil dragon riders. This it did cause some interference to Suchen's god devil dragon riding legion. However, the power is naturally far inferior to the self-destruction of the main god's projection. With the same robe with the sun magical skill and water of life, it can't be done. The gods and demons dragon rider who really killed Suchen. Seeing that there were only 2,000 or 3,000 gods and demons left in the entire blood domain space, Suchen withdrew the dragon riders. Only the time and space fortress was sent for the final clearance. 10 minutes later, the last true god-level god and demon was killed by the 10,000 god-killing towers of the time and space fortress in the middle of launching a suicide attack. The huge blood domain space was empty, and there was no more god and demon. Only a few tens of thousands were left on the edge of the battlefield. The low-level arms of the World Camp Forces. And more than 1 million players of the 20-nation alliance are hanging on and making the final struggle. Obviously, this unprecedented battle between gods and demons will finally end with the victory of the free and independent camp led by Suchen. Dragon City with hundreds of thousands of players and 9 million coalition forces of the 5 races, they defeated the 6 realms' 250 million players, 20 million NPC troops, millions of gods and demons, and 52 6 realms main gods. Oh, by the way, there are also the 50 million players in Country Z rebelled at the critical moment and saved tens of millions of civilians from the 5 races in the royal city of the commercial principality for Suchen. Of course, even without the 50 million people in Country Z, Suchen only needed a few spring father of bombs, can wipe out most of the players in the 20-nation alliance. At this moment, in the live broadcast room, there was dead silence. All the commentators still find it difficult to believe it. The armies of gods and demons from the 6 realms, an army of millions of gods and demons that are almost enough to destroy the world, and many main gods that are enough to dominate the continent, with such overwhelming power, how can they be defeated? And it was so completely defeated. Such misery, embarrassment, and humiliation. Even the superior god of the 6 realms was killed like a chicken in the hands of a mere player, Suchen, without the ability to fight back. In the end, he was forced to blow himself up, but he still couldn't hurt anyone at all. At this moment, the views of billions of players around the world have been refreshed. The image of the 6 realms in the hearts of all players, which was previously so mysterious and powerful that it was difficult to look up to them, suddenly collapsed. This battle made everyone suddenly realize. It turns out that being as powerful as the 6 realms is not invincible. Even a player as weak as a player can still produce Suchen. Make a King's Landing. It can kill millions of gods and demons in the 6 realms, and their blood will rain down like rain. He killed the Lord of the 6 realms, Shen Kang, and fled in panic. He was killed until he was the only one left in the world. It turns out that players can also be proud of the world. Disdainful of the 6 realms. Instead of just kneeling and licking like before. Moreover, it was the agent force deployed by the 6 realms in the Divine Continent. In the live broadcast room, the public commentator had already quietly left through urine escape. A professor-level commentator who specializes in international relations sighed deeply, breaking the dead silence in the live broadcast room, and said with emotion, we're all wrong. How wrong we are. We have underestimated our own power and overestimated the power of NPCs in the 6 realms. Since the launch of the online game God's Domain, almost everyone has treated the agent forces of the 6 realms as invincible beings in every possible way, trying to get a pitiful reward from them. But in fact, why can't we stand on our own, be self-reliant and become a world of our own? We have the advantage of infinite resurrection that NPCs absolutely cannot have, and we have extremely high growth potential. As long as we are given enough time, how can our billions of players be worse than their 6 realms? A professional game analyst said, "Old sir, in fact, we were not completely licking NPCs before. After all, the thinking of online games has been deeply ingrained in the hearts of our players. The concept of NPC invincibility has been the same in all online games over the years." Said like this. Yes. Who knew that this God's Domain online game was such an online game? Perhaps, it's time for us to reinterpret the online game of God's Domain. This battle in King's Landing is a wake-up call for all of us. In the live broadcast barrage, the comments that had been silent for more than 10 minutes began to slowly come up. I'm not bragging, but in this battle, the boss of King's Landing is awesome. Although I am from the 6 Realms camp, what the commentator said does make sense. This game is different from other games. Instead of supporting the 6 Realms, which have an unclear attitude towards us players, why not support our own players? Alas, it's a pity that the selected camp cannot be changed. Otherwise, I really want to join the free and independent camp. The players from Country Z are still smart. Although the camp cannot be changed, they rebelled at the critical moment this time. With the character of the boss of King's Landing, he will not treat his own people badly after a total war. Don't be too optimistic either. After all, the 6 Realms are still the 6 Realms. Although the losses in this battle were heavy, the strength of the 6 Realms still has an overwhelming advantage over the free and independent camp of the King's Landing boss. Yes. I heard that after Total War, there will be a bigger plot. I guess, then it will be the real battle between our players and the 6 Realms. I hope that, the boss of Junlin can be like the legendary Qing Emperor from thousands of years ago and lead us to build an empire powerful enough to be proud of the 6 Realms.